Hello everyone and welcome to Sportstar. This is Pranay Rajiv and I have Amol with me, and we just witnessed World Cup history. Glenn Maxwell scored a double century in chase against Afghanistan to secure Australia's qualification to the World Cup semi-final. So Amol, straight off, at what point did you think Maxwell can pull it off?
I didn't unless and until he crossed that 150 odd knock when the target came down to 50. And then I was convinced that now on he can't give it away. He had nothing left, but that's where, as in, I often use this term that when it comes to this particular player, is either Maxwell and Max fail. Today, he was the greatest, and I thoroughly disagree with your intro, Pranay. It wasn't one of the greatest knocks in ODI World Cup history. I did not watch Kapil. I did not watch Richards. From whatever I have watched in the last 8 or 9 editions of the World Cup, easily, hands down. Even as in, I don't uh, know for sure, but I think even Kapil Dev and Vivian Richards themselves will rate this as the greatest ODI knock. Sheerly for the magnitude. See what Kapil Dev did, what Vivian Richards did. They were setting a target. Here, a team is down and out, 90 odd for seven, 200 more runs required, and you pull it off literally, not virtually, literally single-handedly. There can't be a better knock than this. I'm sorry.
That he carried the burden of the entire team and almost single-leggedly. Like he was walking, he was not able to walk also, and still he managed to score all those boundaries, those sixes. Where do you think it went wrong for Afghanistan? They had Australia down for 89 for 7, if I'm right. From there to lose
91 for 7, yes.
91 for 7. So to lose the game from there, is that down to inexperience? Is that down to the inability to handle pressure?
I don't think it's inability to handle pressure. One is catching, okay, and two, their inexperience. Yes, you got it right. I feel, see, at 90 for 7, the game is over. But as they say, it's not over until the last ball is bowled or the last wicket is actually in the bag. Okay. And it's like, see, any team is bound to be lost when you are up against such an onslaught. Add to that Afghanistan's inexperience of being in a similar situation. Okay. They are one team that has had the convention of being on the roll, primarily because they have been playing the so-called lesser teams in ODI setup. Once they start winning, they start winning.
Mhm.
Seldom does it happen that they have the big game almost in the bag and it remains at almost. Then suddenly it starts slipping away from you. Then what do you do? To take that
Correct.
breather, to take a break, uh, shift to plan E. Something that has never been thought of. All those things come off with experience, and that is why I thought Afghanistan. See, they couldn't have done much more than what they did, right?
Yes.
99 of those 100 times, such a game will not slip away from an opposition.
Those
So
two
I feel,
catches.
besides besides catching, I don't think too much went wrong for Afghanistan. But those two catches, yes,
Yeah, especially Mujib's.
unpardonable.
That was a very straightforward one. Usually Afghanistan fielders are, in a whole, they are pretty good at catching. We have seen them doing well in this World Cup. To see them drop, so to see Mujib drop at that point, I think he was somewhere around 40. From there, and I don't know what kind of, I mean, like, it's hard. It would be hard to explain what kind of mindset Mujib would be in right now. It was, his morale would be definitely down. Speaking about the partnership, they broke a slew of records, a lot of records. This is the highest score by highest score by a batter. Maxwell's score is the highest by a batter, batting at number 6. He broke the record of Kapil Dev coincidentally. Another interesting thing is that Kapil also took just 1 wicket in that match. Maxwell also took 1 wicket, so it's an all-rounder performance. This is also the highest partnership for the number 8 wicket. We have to talk a little bit about Pat Cummins' contribution. At least a few of us would have thought that he was maybe being too defensive. Pat Cummins is not a bad batter. He has a 14 ball 50 in IPL, if I'm correct. So he knows how to hit, but being the captain, I think he took the responsibility to just stay there, knowing how well Maxwell is hitting. He went, he gave the full support to Maxwell to go, keep hitting the shots. What do you feel about Cummins' innings? Do you think I mean, obviously the strategy worked out, but what was your initial thoughts on Cummins playing that defensive?
See, Cummins holding on to an end is, like you said, kind of uncharacteristic for him. And we know Adam Zampa and Josh Hazelwood both are decent batters. Okay, not just by modern day cricket standards. In general, they are decent batters. But the beauty of being Pat Cummins, the leader, is he did not leave it to someone else. He knew that this wasn't as simple a pitch to bat on, and the moment a wicket fell, Maxwell was bound to take even more undue risks. Maxwell and undue risks go hand in hand, but he would again try and do something that even he cannot imagine, right? That's why what Pat Cummins did. See, once you have someone like Maxwell in that sort of a zone, the run rate pressure is never going to actually come into equation. And that's why you needed someone as sensible, as responsible as Pat Cummins, who will just keep blocking as and when he got the strike and let Maxwell do the rest. And most importantly, keep on talking to Mad Max.
Put him right on the path, like guide him in the right direction. So yeah, but as we saw, Maxwell was struggling extremely hard with the cramps or whatever the issues he was going through. He was barely able to walk. So what does this mean for Australia's World Cup campaign? Imagine losing Maxwell. I mean, imagine if Maxwell can't get his fitness back in track and he cannot play the next game as well as the semi-final. What does it mean for Australia? Because the performance which he gave today might be the spark which might help them onto a title run or something. So do you think Maxwell, we don't know for a fact that he will return or what his injury status is right now, but imagine losing Maxwell, what will be the mental state of Australians?
I think it's too early to rule him out and all. Just imagine now that they are through. It doesn't really matter whether they finish at number 2 or 3. It's definitely not going to be number 4 for them any longer. Okay, so 2 or 3 does not matter. You are anyway going to play each other. So Maxwell can put his feet up, take a week-long break, not go to UAE, or do not go anywhere close to a golf course. Okay, but Maxwell has actually showed Australia the right path. Okay, to actually start off the tournament in which they did, to have actually qualified with a game in hand is remarkable. And to a lot of extent, only Australia can pull this off. Right?
Yes.
And
correct.
that's why, had this game not been done and dusted from Australia's perspective, it would have been so near yet so far, and then yet another must-win game in just a matter of time that would have put Australia under severe stress. Now that that's not happened, I personally feel that yes, India are looking as invincible as the Aussies of late 90s, early 2000s. But now on, I think this is Australia's tournament to lose. What's your take, Pranay?
Yeah, absolutely. South Africa looked dangerous, but until India subdued them in Kolkata. So Australia is on the rise, so that might come into factor. Again, I would like to give a word to Ibrahim Sadran, who scored the first century for Afghanistan in ODI World Cups. Any other day, he would have been the talk of the town. People would have praised about him. He must have won the man of the match. But today, I don't think a lot of people will talk about him. It's all about Maxwell. You started this conversation by saying that this is the greatest ODI World Cup or ODI innings of all time. It's only like practice that we just go through a few of them. Obviously, Kapil Dev 175 in 1983 against Zimbabwe. Then we have Martin Guptill's double century, the first ever double century in ODI World Cups, which happened in 2015 against West Indies. And then Viv Richards 181 against Sri Lanka, 1987. De Villiers 162, obviously very similar knock in terms of late order hitting. That too against West Indies in 2015. And as I don't have to ask you again. Obviously, you already answered this question that Maxwell is better than this. But let's talk a little bit of Maxwell, the cricketer. He had a very bad phase somewhere during the late 2020s. He had terrible IPLs. Despite being picked for crazy amount of money, he had to trade terrible IPLs. He had a mental health issue. He had a breakdown, and then he had to stop cricket for quite a while. So looking at that perspective, he's at 35 right now. He's probably playing his last ODI World Cup. What does it mean for Maxwell, the cricketer? What the legacy he will leave behind? Because as you have mentioned, Maxwell is not the most dependable cricketer. He is. Yeah, that's a little bit of thing. But today's innings, maybe, is this what the world will remember him by?
See, the last month we have seen Maxwell, the reliable cricketer, right? First of all, he is being utilized as a primary all-rounder. Okay, not too many give it to him. Everyone still talks about Cameron Green and Marcus Stoinis as Australia's main all-rounders. At some level, Mitchell Marsh. But look at what Glenn Maxwell has done. Every time he has played, he has virtually contributed in both the departments. Coming back to this World Cup, first he went boundaryless in 10 overs while bowling against a top team. Then you score the fastest 50 in a fastest 100 in a World Cup, and now you come up with the greatest World Cup knock ever, men and women combined. Then, as in, I don't think now on we should refer to any of Maxwell's knocks as a fluke. Please, you and I, more than us, everyone else who is watching or listening to this, please stop referring to Maxwell as either Mad Max or a fluke. He has done more than enough over the last month to stop this tirade against him.
He is the Big Show. That's another nickname he will go by. So that will be a more appropriate nickname.
Exactly.
So thanks everyone for listening in. This was a great World Cup match to watch. I envy Mr. Shayan Ajaria, who is covering the game from the ground. So he'll have a lot of splendid things to write about Maxwell. So I'm looking forward to read that. Just like me, I hope you all tune into Sportstar to read more of our stuff from the World Cup, videos, articles, analysis, features, everything. Thanks for tuning in.